Welcome to my presentation on calculating the return on investment for training and development. This is Wing Lam from U21 Global. Many companies spend a significant amount of money on training and development. The American Society for Training and Development estimates that US organizations spend almost 109 billion US dollars per year. That's the equivalent of 1,435 US dollars per employee per year. Given the significant amount of money spent on education, it's reasonable to ask the question, is the money actually well spent? Well, there does seem to be some evidence to suggest that this isn't the case. In one research study, for example, of medium-sized companies in the UK, the study revealed that such firms were wasting money on education, largely because of the lack of a link between education and business. Education is like any kind of investment. It needs to be managed properly. One tool that HR managers can use to assess the effectiveness of any training and development program is the return on investment tool. This is a simple tool, and it's essentially the ratio of the total cost of a training and development program relative to the total benefits gained from the program. Let me show you how the ROI tool can be used in a simple scenario. And let's assume the scenario is that of a call center. You are an operations manager running this busy call center, and you put your call center agents on a program which is designed to improve their call handling skills. Now, measurement is very important for ROI calculation. Let's assume that you measure the performance of each agent before and after the training program, and you find that their performance has actually improved. Before the training program, they handled 20 calls per hour. However, after completing the program, you find that they're able to handle 25 calls per hour. Now let's just assume that the average cost of handling each call is roughly $2 US. Therefore, the productivity improvement is equivalent of $10 US per hour. If you assume that every agent has an 8-hour day, that equates to a productivity improvement of $80 US per day. Now you multiply that by the number of agents and also the duration that they work, and let's assume here it's roughly 100 days. That's a total productivity improvement, roughly the equivalent of 160,000 US dollars. Now, given this productivity improvement, let's look at how we can actually calculate the return on investment. Let's assume the total cost of running the program was 25,000 US dollars. The ROI formula is quite simple. It's the total benefits minus the total costs divided by the total costs times 100. Now, the total benefits, as we calculated earlier, was the equivalent of 160,000 US dollars. Take away the cost of running the program, which is $25,000, divide by the total cost again, and the ROI comes up to 540%. Now that is a significant ROI. Let's now look at a slightly more complex scenario. And in this case, we're dealing with managers. Let's assume that you are a senior manager and you have a team of 5 middle managers who in turn manage their own team. You put your middle managers on a program that's actually designed to develop their overall management and leadership skills. Now, unlike the call center agent, the work of middle managers tends to be very unstructured and quite hard to measure. So how do you actually go about trying to measure their improvement in performance? Well, one method you can use is called the supervisor assessment. And this is where the senior manager uses on-the-job observations to make informed judgments about the areas in which a manager has actually improved. So let's look at this example. There are 4 areas of consideration: task completion, task complexity, customer service, and teamwork. And you can see here that the supervisor has made some assessment as to the extent to which a particular middle manager has improved that area after having completed the training program. In the case of task completion, the ability to complete more tasks, the supervisor has given the middle manager an improvement of 20%. In terms of handling more complex tasks, the improvement is only 10%. In the case of being more customer oriented, the improvement is relatively small, only 5%. And in terms of teamwork, the ability to work more effectively as part of a team, the improvement is rated by the supervisor as being 10%. Now, if we take the average productivity improvement across these 4 areas, it's the equivalent of roughly 11.25%. Now let's just assume that the average annual salary of a middle manager is $60,000. If we take 11.25% of that, that's an equivalent productivity improvement of $6,750 per year. Now let's just assume the total cost of running that program for that particular individual middle manager was $6,000. And if we use our ROI formula again, you can see that you get an ROI of 12.5%. So not incredibly huge, but that's the calculation. Now I've shown you how to calculate the ROI for 2 different situations. One was for a fairly structured job where there's fairly measurable outcomes. The other was for a non-structured job where the outcomes are much more fuzzy in nature. So ROI is a powerful tool for HR managers. It's a tool that you can use to ensure that any training and development initiatives actually contribute positively to individual and business performance. But it's also a tool for evaluating the efficacy of various training and development initiatives that you might have in your own organization. Thanks for listening.